Creepy and fashion are two words that aren't often used in the same sentence. Until now, that is. Meet the Visard. This Renaissance mask was first worn in France in the 16th century, at a time where mask wearing in public was kind of normal, and had been for a few hundred years before. This style of mask made its way throughout Europe to the home of masks, Venice, where it was given the name Moretta, meaning dark. So, what did they actually look like? Well, fortunately we have a few surviving examples. We can see that obviously there were two holes for the eyes, as you'd expect. Usually a small indentation to sit on the nose, also as you'd expect, and there was sometimes a small opening for the mouth. A key difference between these two styles of masks is that the Moretta was slightly smaller in size, covering less of the face. The mask was held to the face not with a ribbon, but with a button or a bead that the user would actually hold beneath their teeth. As you could expect, this would restrict and muffle a lot of speech. So women wearing these masks were actually hardly known to speak. The thing is that the silencing effect of the mask was considered attractive, as it gave the wearer a mysterious edge. Speaking with the Moretta on would have been hard, but not impossible. I mean, try it for yourself. Try to speak while keeping your teeth closed. It does feel strange and you may have to concentrate on it, but you can still understand what you're saying. To add to this, the writer Eliza Haywood in her 1751 book titled The History of Miss Betsy Thoughtless hints to a conversation occurring between a masked woman and a gentleman at a ball, before she removes her mask. As soon as he found himself alone with his incognita, "Do not reproach me," answered she, "with denying what is not yet in my power to grant. I cannot let you see my face." But the discovery of her face was what he chiefly wanted. Taking hold of her mask, letting it fall in his hands, the voice of the incognita being more distinguishable by the button of the mask being removed. This shows that masks were worn so that women could be selective in choosing who to talk to, or who to take their mask off for. Kind of like a medieval version of Tinder. But why would they want to be quiet in the first place? Well, the reason that Renaissance women would want to choose to be quiet is because of the rigid social hierarchy that existed throughout Europe, where there were laws called sumptuary laws, which pretty much regulated what each class within a society is allowed to wear. The Visard and the Moretta, like all masks, were free from these laws, which meant that the only way you could meet with people from other classes would be to actually wear a mask. Now, Venice in particular had a very rigid social hierarchy. The wearing of masks allowed people from different walks of life to socialize and, get wasted together in a common space. Another reason these masks were so popular with Renaissance women is because it allowed them to participate a lot more in social events, free of judgment, as well as allowing a higher degree of independence, something that would not have been all too common in that era. The other purpose of the Visard mask was to protect women from sunburn or being tanned, as a tan would suggest the woman is a member of a working class who spend most of their time outside. Alright, so why do they look so creepy? They look strange compared to other Venetian Carnevale masks, as it dehumanizes a face by muting or hiding features that our brains are programmed to recognize, rather than accentuating them. Looking at other masks, you can see features such as larger noses, caricatured facial features, or half masks that leave the mouth exposed. You could look at the Moretta as the odd one out because it hides facial features. Furthermore, these masks were made of black velvet, so the matte color was somewhat hard to portray in paintings as it doesn't reflect light all that well. See? Look at this creepy mask. Now, let me fix it. See? Little bit less creepy.
Fixed.
Even back when they were worn, people did still find them creepy. And as with all controversial topics, there were people on the fringe groups making the whole issue even worse. Take priest and writer Philip Stubbs, for example. The man hated fun. Fun includes the following items: styling hair, wearing earrings, expensive shirts, shoemakers, tanners, barbers, fancy clothing, women wearing doublets, wearing large ruffs, makeup, wearing slippers outside, the variety of hats available, attending plays, playing sports, dancing. You get the idea. It'll probably be a lot easier to make a list of things he does like. In his 1583 pamphlet titled The Anatomy of Abuses, he actually remarks, "So that if a man that knew not their guise before should chance to meet one of them, he would think he met a monster or a devil, for face he can see none but two broad holes against her eyes with glasses in them." Now it gets better. He starts laying down a bit of smack talk. Thus they profane ye name of God and lie in all kind of voluptuousness and pleasure worse than ever did the heathen. Like with many crackpot rants that involves words such as voluptuous or heathen, most people listening just ignored him and went on with their lives. Most. Nobleman Robert de Gloucy read this and took the demon talk seriously, as his wife wore one of these masks. He forced his wife to stop wearing the mask, which she did, only when he was around. One time he saw her with the mask on, supposedly took her for an intruder, and he actually ended up killing her of all things. He went to court and he told them he had killed the woman in self-defense because she was clearly possessed by a demon, hidden under the mask, and that he saw a supernatural glow coming out from under it, and that her eyes shone with hateful wickedness. Now, believe it or not, this was enough to convince the court he was found innocent of murder. His late wife was exhumed, dismembered, and set on fire. Sometime shortly after this, the use of Visards actually stopped in England, although usage continued throughout much of Europe, eventually falling out of style in Venice in the mid-18th century, and out of our collective consciousness sometime later. So the next time you're at a fancy dress party or out for Halloween, but you're a bit of an introvert, consider scaring the crap out of everyone and getting mad respect from fellow history nerds by wearing one of these masks. Do me a favor, like and subscribe so I can give you more low quality content such as this.